And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you, Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. Glad to have you with us on this cold, blustery December day. Amazing what the winds and the rain from Hurricane Helene done here on our forested area. In this one pile of trees right here behind me, there is 9 trees in a pile. That I could be wrong about this part. That one tree knocked down 8 others as it fell. That's the way it appears. We had a tulip poplar down here in the woods, and when it uprooted and started to fall, it knocked down, in its process of falling, it appears that it has knocked down 9 other trees. And I can back up and say 8. One of them was a white oak that's laying this way, and the reason it's laying this way is because I fell it that way. When the rest of these trees fell, it pushed that one so hard it made it into a widowmaker. It was still upright, but it was leaning really bad and caught in another tree and was really dangerous to even be around here working. So I put that one down so it'd be safe to work here. So if you count it, it was already widowmakered, leaning way over and ready to fall into another tree, but it was still upright. If you count it, that's 9. 9 trees that one big tulip poplar, when it uprooted, took down with it. And yes, the rest of those trees probably were going to fall anyway in this storm. What happened in this storm? We were under flood conditions before Hurricane Helene even arrived. We had over 10, 12 inches of rain the days before. Hurricane Helene for the mountains of North Carolina was the perfect storm. The ground was saturated, super saturated and wet. The soil was saturated deeply. Then here come the morning that the hurricane arrived in this area. That hurricane just against these mountains, 100+ mile-an-hour winds. And when the rains came with the hurricane, we ended up with over 25 inches. I've heard reports from 25 to 35 inches of rain, depending on your exact location. Here on our farm, we probably had between 25 and 30 inches of rain total. You have the ground that saturated. I mean, creeks running just on dry ground, when I say dry ground, where there had not been any rain, any creeks or little small bodies of water previously, just running everywhere. The ground cannot absorb it. And when you have that much rain in the mountains, you don't end up with ponding water. You end up with what we call gully washers. The water runs, it moves. We had water just running everywhere. The ground that saturated, then here comes 100-mile-an-hour winds. And the trees didn't just snap off like they would in a lot of situations with a hurricane like that. Here they uprooted. The roots just couldn't hold them. The wind came and it just pushed them. The roots and the soil was weaker than the tree, so it just uprooted. And we've got root balls uprooted everywhere. There's some of these root balls I would love to sit back down. I'm cutting some of these trees, the tree trunks, really close to the root ball to get that fulcrum, that weight off of them. So maybe later I can hook my pickup truck to them, or the tractor or something, and try to get those root balls to sit back down to fill in the holes. And then the stump can just rot away on its own, but I like to get those holes filled back up. This big tulip poplar fell, and this tree's huge. I'm no good judge at judging the height of a tree, but that thing was one of the biggest trees in our woods. It was huge, and as in tall and big around. Tulip poplar is a hardwood, believe it or not. It's in the angiosperm family, which is a hardwood, but it's one of the softest hardwoods there is. Tulip poplar splits real easily. It saws easily. For firewood, heating your home, it make you a good coal bed quickly. Poplar burns hot and fast. Leaves very little ash. Makes great firewood for camping, because tulip poplar will get you a flame. It flames really good. It burns high with a nice tall flame. It dries quickly. You can split up some tulip poplar, and it takes about half the time that oak or another hardwood would to season out. Poplar will season really quickly, and it makes good campfire wood. I'm not real fond of it for home heating. Yeah, some of it to mix in with your other wood would be just fine, because it burns good, and it burns fast, and it burns hot, and produces a really good flame, which makes it a great campfire wood. So this big tulip poplar is down, and we're going to work it up along with all these other trees. But the tulip poplar, we're going to split most of this tulip poplar for campfire wood. This coming spring, it's December now, and by April or May, when we start our camping season, this stuff will already be seasoned out almost. Plenty enough to go ahead and burn. And if we can get it split soon and let it start air drying in a very dry environment, like under our shed roofs, and it'll make some great campfire wood. So I'll show you this root ball and this stump where this poplar fell. Big tree, really big tree. Okay, I've already tried to pull this root ball once, because it's getting really close to our water supply, and the tractor wouldn't budge it. So I've got to get some more weight off of it. I'm gonna cut this stump back as close to that root ball as I can. But look what a mess. It's just unreal. There's another one it uprooted when it hit it. And you can see part of our fence around the water source is history under there. You may see some of our water source right down in there. Some water reservoirs. But that root ball right there, from everything I can study, is what started the whole chain reaction of these trees falling at that particular time. I do believe they would have fell probably regardless. But there she is, just for reference. There's my hand. So you can see just how big that tree is. Probably the biggest tree here. Can you see what this storm done to our perimeter fence and our pasture? Pretty much destroyed it. There's a couple of T-posts I took down. This whole section right here is gone. I salvaged some of it and pulled some of the wire back. There'll be a lot of fence rebuilding to do. When you stack your brush, make sure you're stacking it the same direction. Big ends of the limbs to the back, all the small limbs to the other side, and stack it in one direction. Occasionally throw a heavier piece on it to pack it down. If you just throw it in there haphazardly like this and like that, limbs going everywhere, that brush pile will be huge. A lot bigger than it needs to be. You can pack it tightly if you'll stack them all the same direction. This is the top of a big red oak tree. You might be able to see the fork in the tree right behind me. I got all the forks down. All that brush we've been stacking has come mainly from this big red oak. And it's all out of the way. You can see we got all the brush cleared. Now we can start sawing this up into firewood lengths. Good natural crack in it. Right there. No knots. Big block of red oak here. Natural, since we've cut it in the firewood length. Excuse my dry hands. A natural crack running right down the middle of that block of wood. This piece ought to bust nicely. And if you're new to the channel, I don't call it splitting wood. Where I grew up, we called it busting wood. And we are using what I call a go devil, a splitting maul. All right, let's get some firewood. Thanks for being with us today here on the farm. Sun's went down. It's time to go take care of our evening farm chores, our poultry and things of that nature. We got some wood worked up today. We got a lot to go. A lot, but we're getting some really nice camping wood for this coming camping season. Plus a lot of wood we're gonna have to distribute to our community when the time comes when this gets seasoned. There's no need to deliver this now. People can't burn it right now, it's green. But it's gonna season really good by next winter, and we will be able to help out our community. Beautiful day today, but it's starting to get cold. The high today has been about 36 degrees. The sun's went down, it's probably down around 32 now, and it's getting cold. It's gonna be a cold night. We got a lot more work here to do. We really appreciate you being with us. Our subscribers are the best on YouTube. We really appreciate you guys. Y'all are fantastic. Give us a thumbs up, drop some comments. If you haven't, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to our channel. And I pray God blesses you and your family. And I pray y'all have a fantastic day.